Hello, good people of YouTube, Mountbatten here. Today I'm bringing you my review of the Tier 6 British Premium Battleship, the Warspite. Yes, now I know the Warspiteful video did come out before this review, so that's why this is on the first impressions, because I have played this ship. So, let's go ahead and jump to some of the stats, then I'll jump into some gameplay and give you guys my overall thoughts about the ship. So, survivability, she has 53,000 hit points. She's on the lower end of the Tier 6 battleship, so she's down there with the Bayern. That is the normal British flavor. Her armor isn't the greatest ever. I mean, you do have some thick armor on the sides with a strip of 152mm right there. But other than that, it is 25mm pretty much all the way around. And you have these little slats right here that is considered deck armor, so it does have 38mm of armor. Then you have a tough section of armor back here, which is 102mm. And yeah, pretty much other than the barbettes and the turrets, it is 25mm of armor, including the deck armor. And you got in the conning tower some 76mm of armor there, so I guess if you want to shoot there, get some penetrations, you can. Turrets, of course, are extremely heavily armored. The front of them, 330mm of armor, sides 279, and the tops are 108, while the barbettes are 256. So, it'd be pretty hard to knock these turrets out, although, of course, if anything takes enough damage, you can. And let's take a look at our citadel. So there is a little sliver of it that sits above the waterline. So while it will be hard to get a citadel on the Warspite, it's not impossible, but the majority of it is beneath the waterline. If you get some good plunging fire in from the top, you can get a citadel, or if the ship is maneuvering hard and the side gets exposed, you can easily citadel her that way. So now let's take a look at her artillery. She has these very nice 381mm guns. That's 15 inches for all of us countries that landed on the moon. And with these guns, you can penetrate the bows of most of the battleships you will encounter, unless you get up to tier 8. Then good luck. And of course, for her secondaries, she does have 8 102mm guns, which are these deck guns right here. And then she has a further 8 152mm. Whoops. I'm trying to show off this nice new camera angles and all, and the game's not wanting to comply. Then she has 8 of these, I guess you would call these, I know these have a particular name, I don't know exactly what they're called, but 8 of those side guns alongside of the ship, and they do have a pretty decent range. I mean, with a secondary build, which I do have on here, they have a 7.6 kilometer range, both of them, and the 152s have a 12% chance of starting fire, while the 105s, the 102s have a 6% chance of fire. And keep in mind, these 152s, these are pretty mean, and they do reload in 7.4 seconds. But if you equip Adrenaline Rush, which unfortunately I don't have, they will be even faster when you take damage, which you will take plenty of damage in this ship. Chance of fire is pretty dang good for tier 6 of her main battery guns. She has a 34% chance of fire when using HE. So, just like the rest of the British line, HE spam is always an option. And the Warspite AA is I have a secondary build on the ship, which usually buffs the AA up, but still the rating is only 49. At tier 6, that's not really that bad, but that's not really that great, so it's about middle ground in terms of AA. Her maximum speed is 24.7 knots. Now, again, not terribly slow, but not terribly fast for tier 6, still way faster than any of the American battleships. Rudder shift time is 14.2 seconds, and I'm not gonna lie, she actually feels pretty maneuverable sometimes she doesn't, but it's strange, it's hard to describe. Of course, her concealment is 13.8 kilometers, which it's not terrible, but I mean, it's tier 6, so no need of saying too concealed at tier 6. So back to her main battery guns, they do have a maximum range of 16.3 kilometers, so you do have about 3 kilometers between firing range and your concealment range, so not too much of a cushion, but I mean, hey, it's tier 6. You usually want trying to stealth snipe at tier 6. Now, the 180 time on her guns is 41.9 seconds, which is faster than the Queen Elizabeth at, where is it at? 56.3 seconds. Woo, boy. Yep. That's reason number one why you want the Warspite over the Queen Elizabeth. So now that you've seen all the stats, let me show you my captain and module builds. I am using Jack Dunkirk because he's the only 10-point captain I had at the time. He's much better serving as either a British cruiser or British destroyer captain now that the destroyers are coming out. But I do have preventive maintenance, MLG turrets, BFT, and AFT. That's what I'm rocking right now. And I'm about to have he's about to get his 12th point, and I'll dump that into Adrenaline Rush. And then probably go for Jack of all trades since he does have a special Jack of all trades. Or I might move this guy over to a British destroyer and pick up another 10-point captain somewhere else. Haven't made up mind about that yet. Modules for the upgrade, I went with auxiliary armaments mod 1, damage con 1, secondary mod 2, damage con 3, simply because of the state of HE. That's the thing about her armor. Her armor is pretty thin, so with the current state of HE, you will be taking a lot of HE pins. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into battle. Alright, so I'm running through the cons and the pros of the Warspite. One of the biggest cons, for me at least, is, of course, the armor. As you saw in the intro there, it is only 25 millimeters of armor in most places. It does have a bit thicker armor on the belt, but for most places it is just 25 millimeters of armor. Which, given the current state of HE, you are going to be taking a lot of damage from HE spam, not only from the fires, but also just from the pins. To offset that, her heal is quite good. It is better than pretty much, to my knowledge, all the tier 6 battleships. It restores, I believe in the neighborhood of 320 hit points per second for 28 seconds, which, yeah, that's a good chunk of your health you can get back. Again, however, it does not have the, in my opinion at least, doesn't offset the current state of HE in the game, which I know the Warspite, she is a pretty old premium, so that has a lot to do with it. The game wasn't as HE spammy back then as it was now. I mean, don't get me wrong, HE spam was still a thing back then, but nowhere near the levels that it is today. So saying that, I of course would recommend getting the premium consumables for this battleship. Most of the times, I wouldn't really say you need premiums unless, you know, you're at tier 8 onward, then I would say you should definitely be running premium consumables. Other than like tier 7, tier 6, you don't really need premium consumables. I run premium consumables just because I have so much credits I can afford to do it, and they do give you an edge in battle. Okay, another con is her torpedo protection. It is only 24% torpedo damage reduction. That's rough, especially on a ship with as little as hit points as a Warspite. I mean, little, it has 53,000 hit points, but in battleship terms, that is on the lower end of the hit point spectrum for tier 6 battleships. And of course, with the very low torpedo damage reduction, you take a hit from a torpedo, it wipes out like a quarter of your health from one torpedo. That's just from one. You take multiple torpedoes, you're pretty much boned from the rest of the game. Another con is, like I mentioned earlier, her AA. It's not great, it's not bad, it's kind of just meh. If you cruise with other warships, you know, that will help you greatly. It's funny that I mentioned that because the clip you're watching right now, I completely go off by my own, and well, y'all will see. And our turrets, of course, they are way faster than the Queen Elizabeth turrets, so as you are maneuvering with a Warspite, which I believe she is pretty maneuverable. I mean, she feels sluggish sometimes, but watch this right here. Watch, this really shows her maneuverability. I get plenty enough warning for those torpedoes and I turn. However, there isn't I'm not in between any of the gaps of torpedoes, except watch this. Look at that. I managed to fit her in the gap in between the two salvos, which was just barely big enough for her to get through. Wow. I was genuinely impressed by the maneuverability of the Warspite right there. And here goes her secondaries. They are not, by any stretch of the imagination, very accurate. I mean, okay, first there's 3 fires set by those dive bombers. That hurt. They aren't accurate. I mean, no secondaries are truly really accurate at this tier. I mean, sure, if you run a manual fire for secondaries, you can get some pretty accurate secondaries, but most people don't have a commander with that many points on them at this tier. I mean, if you want to do manual secondaries, go for it. All it's going to do is make the secondaries even better. But for most of us, we don't have a captain with that many skill points on them. So the secondaries, they are pretty good. I mean, they're you get in close, they're really good. As you will see toward the end. But as for swatting at destroyers and cruisers, they're really good at that. I mean, if a cruiser strays into your secondary range and they're detected, or a destroyer for that matter, it's not going to be a good time for them. Her guns also pack a very, very good punch. She does use British AP, so again, you will be doing a lot of damage against cruisers and destroyers. And don't get me wrong, you'll be doing a lot of damage against battleships too, but just not as much if you were using normal AP. Luckily, those torpedoes run out right before they can tag the Warspite. And I beached myself. Tactical beaching right there. As you can see here, her turrets do move quite nicely. I do have, like I showed you guys earlier, do have expert marksman for them to get going even faster. But yeah, Queen Elizabeth, whew, I'm so glad the Warspite does not share the turret rotation time as Queen Elizabeth does. Ooh, again, I was even kind of angled to that shot, but still took a good chunk of health off of me. So overall, the Warspite, in my opinion, she's pretty dang good. I mean, it's just the state of HE in the game. It's just so much more noticeable on her, because now we have the British destroyers coming out, which are, you know, a bunch of HE spamming destroyers. We've got the American light cruiser line, which are HE spammers, and then you've got all the old original HE spammers on top of that. And it's just, whew, you really notice it in Warspite. God. So, you can actually get Warspite pretty much for free right now in the arsenal. She's only, I believe, 250 sovereigns, which if you've been doing all the missions for the British event, you should be able to get that much sovereigns pretty dang easy. Especially if you do like I did, buy the 20 Royal Navy container pack. That's how I got Warspite. So technically, I got her for free in air quotes. But I mean, it's a good ship. She's a really good ship. You can brawl with her. You can slap the aiming system module on her, and have some really accurate 15-inch guns. Oh, that's another thing that, oh yeah, I said that in the intro. She can pin the bow of pretty much every battleship she meets except for the tier 8s. So you get that too. So I mean, it's a pretty good bundle all the way around if you look at the ship, especially if you get it for free with the sovereigns. So, oh, I'm sorry, I had to sneeze there. I'll edit that out so I don't make you guys go deaf. And here's another good look at that, boink boink boink, and there goes most of his health. It's that British AP for you. And the secondaries, and this is again what I'm talking about. The secondaries, they aren't all that accurate, but they aren't all that bad either. I mean, they're tier 6 secondaries, and I do get a couple hits on them, and I do seek in with my secondaries, so they're not too bad. And here goes some really good footage of Warspite being Warspite. So there is the tier 6 New Mexico. That is the American tier 6. She's actually a pretty dang good ship. Oh, and here comes, again, showing one of her weaknesses. So 2 torpedoes. Look at that. I am down to critical health with just 2 torpedo hits from about 3/4 health. Definitely doesn't have the best torpedo protection. Anyway, New Mexico, probably one of the best tier 6 battleships, including Warspite. So now he has the health advantage, but he is again the only one of 3 ships left alive on his team. And definitely have the battle tank in the Warspite because of the squishiness of her armor. I mean, you know, because when you're battle tanking, you can tank everybody else's hits, but they can't tank your hits in the bow because you can overpin their bow. So she's definitely very good for that. Of course, I'm taking just a couple pot shots at their now detected carrier. So she did set me on fire 3 times about 5 or 6 minutes ago. I want my revenge. So now this New Mexico is coming around the corner of the island. He's pretty, and oop, there's a Citadel on the carrier. He's pretty hurt. I'm pretty hurt. I'm out of heals. He probably has a heal left, maybe. My damage con just came off cooldown. However, even though the turrets do rotate faster than the Queen Elizabeth, it will take some time before my rear turrets get around. Look at this, he's taking his time, he is aiming. And yep, he gets me through that plate in the front and gets to my citadel. I now have barely any health left. I shot, my full broadside, so I don't have to wait for my guns to reload. He has to wait for his guns to reload. So now it comes down to one thing that I have over him. That is the secondaries. Set a fire. He's at 2,000 health. I can take a long for that fire to burn him down. However, he's still alive, and he's reloading, and I'm reloading. Look at this. Woo-hoo-hoo. Just outrunning his turrets. Turret reloads. I get pins into his turrets. However, thankfully the fire set by my secondaries does manage to kill him. Whoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. I can't believe that I got a bunch of pins into his 4th turret and no damage to his ship. I could have just scraped his ship with a shell and I would have killed him. But no worries, the fires did kill him, and that was the Warspite being the Warspite. So, my review of her, great ship. You have a great opportunity to get her for free right now. You should definitely take advantage of it. Make sure you get her or the Gallant, depends if you want a battleship, you want a destroyer. Either or, I would recommend the Warspite simply because I'm a battleship main and I've been having a lot of fun with her recently. So even with all her pros and cons, she's a fantastic ship. I've been having a lot of fun in her, and I would recommend her to you guys, especially, like I said, right now. You can get her for free, so why not? So that's my review of the Warspite. If you liked the video, drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Make sure to share this video with your friends if you like to help the channel grow. And I thank all of you guys for watching, and hope to catch all of you in the next one.